Hello and welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you guys exactly how to create a master set for Riftbound Origins. I'm going to go through everything you're going to need, from the supplies to the ordering of the cards to the different sections to complete a master set. And then I'm also going to give you some tools to make it a little bit easier for you. I put together some Google Sheets documents that will kind of go over the exact spots in the binder of, where everything should be. And then also a checklist so you can keep track of what you're still missing. So as you can see, this is kind of the status of my overnumbered section. I do have Kaisa, but she's getting graded. So the only one I'm truly missing is Victor. So I need to pick up Victor and then I will be good to go. I have a lot of the other sections done, but as I said, it's going to take probably a little while of finding all the singles. I think especially the uncommon foils are going to be a little hard to get here in the US. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So first things first, what you're going to need is a Vault X binder. Well, you don't need to do Vault X, but you're going to need a binder with at least 600 slots. The best high quality binder that I was able to find is the Vault X XL. It has 624 slots and each page is 4x3. I've actually found that the 4x3 layout is best just in terms of how things flow. Like for example, if we were to go to like this page, you can tell all of the legends and their signature spells all fit on one or on two 4x3 pages. And then if you go, for example, to just the non-foils of the commons and uncommons, the actually only one I'm missing is Windwall. I'm pretty sure I have it, but I just need to find it. You can see it all fits on one kind of layout here. So we have all the greens here, all the blues here, all the oranges, and that's just kind of how it worked out by itself. I didn't have to try and do that, but if you do your binder in the layout that I'm saying, it's just kind of how it works out. Now, when you have your Vault X binder or whichever high quality binder you can find with enough slots, you're gonna need a couple more things. You're gonna need some sleeves. So you're gonna need some penny sleeves. I buy these kind of in packs of 500 off of Amazon. I will link this in the description. Then I have some Vault X inner sleeves. So for all the cards, I inner and outer sleeve them. This might be a little bit of overkill because you maybe only want to like inner sleeve the most high quality cards, but I inner sleeve and outer sleeve everything. Just because that's how I like to do it. But some people might say that's a little bit of overkill. And then thirdly, I like to put my high worth cards in a quality outer sleeve instead of the penny sleeves. So for all of my overnumbered cards, they'll go into a penny sleeve, into an inner sleeve and then into an outer sleeve instead of a penny sleeve, because I find they give just a little bit more protection. Now, for my English binder, I'll likely also do my alt arts in outer sleeves as well instead of penny sleeves. But for my Chinese binder, I only put my overnumbered cards in these outer sleeves. But how you want to do that is truly up to you. The like sleeving, is you definitely want it in some sort of sleeve. I would say at a minimum, you want to put them in a penny sleeve and then put them in here. Just so your cards don't get damaged. And one thing to note is when you do sleeve a card, you want to, if I can reach in here, we got a magma worm. It's probably a little bent because the cards do have some pringling. When you put them in, you want to put them in upside down first. So put them in like this, upside down into the inner sleeve. And then you want to put them in right side up on the outer sleeve. That way it protects the top and the bottom from dust. All right, so that's all you really need. Just some sleeves and a binder. All right, so now let's kind of talk about what exactly goes into a master set, right? How do you do it? How's the binder set up? And all that good stuff. So how I have it set up is we have all the foils in the beginning. You know, this is kind of the core of your binder. So the runes, they actually don't come in foil. So the runes and the tokens. So the only cards you'll see that are non-foil in the foil section, just so that it looks complete, is the runes and the tokens at the very end. Besides that, everything else kind of in these first pages are foil. So it is ordered by number, but then we have the alt arts after the regular versions of the cards. So for example, for this Darius, you have Darius here, he's number 27, and then afterwards you have Darius 27A, right? And how this works out is, you know, it's not exactly, so it is in order of number, but the alt arts come after the regular version. Like here you can see you have the rune and then the alt art rune. The alt art runes I've actually found a little bit hard to come by, but that's, I guess, neither here nor there. So that's kind of the ordering of all this. So you get all the foils first, right? And then once you get through all the foils, here you can see is these cards, and then we have the tokens, as I said, and then you have all the foil battlegrounds, which are at the end as well. You can see this here is number 298, so that's the last card in the non-overnumbered set. And then we have all of our overnumbered cards afterwards. You know, there might be an argument to be made to maybe you want to put the overnumbereds on the first page because that's, you know, the best cards, but I think, you know, the best way to do it is just to do it in order. That's what makes the most sense to me, but, you know, do whatever you think makes the most sense for your binder. So we have all the overnumbereds here. And then on this page, we would have all of the signature overnumbereds. Now, the only one that I've pulled is Ari. I'm not sure if I'm planning on actually trying to collect and finish all the signatures as well. It's probably going to be a little expensive, but we will see. We'll see. So this would then be a page for all of the signature cards. And then starting here, we would have our proving grounds. So I do have a box of proving grounds coming in. I have not gotten it yet, but when I do, it's going to be proving grounds here, because there are 24 cards in the proving ground slots. So we're going to have 1, 2. And then what we're going to do is this page is actually going to be blank, right? And we can use this page. I was actually considering possibly leaving, you know, this page blank and then having these 2 pages being the proving grounds. That way you can see them all on one page. I think that might be what I actually do once I get my proving grounds box in is, you know, signatures here. Sorry, not signatures. Overnumbered cards here, signatures here, leave this page blank. Maybe we can put some sort of other cards that come out here. And these 2 pages will be proving grounds. And then starting here, we have all of our non-foils, right? So the only cards that come in non-foil are commons and uncommons. Now, some people might say you don't need to do this, and you might not need to. Some people might be calling this a Grandmaster set, if that's what you like to call it. But I like to have everything fully complete. It's just kind of my style. So here we then have all the foils of the commons and uncommons. All right, we can go through all these. This is mostly complete. I'm just missing that one wind wall. I know it's in my bulk somewhere. Just gotta find it. So that would be these pages. And then I kind of put the Chinese tip cards here. I think there's only 5 of them. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm 90% sure that there's only 5. I kind of just put them at the end here. And then lastly, we have some pages here for promos, right? So I haven't got into figuring out how I want to order these yet. But there's gonna be a lot of promos from Riftbound, right? So we have all the pre-release promos, you know, the Ari and the Timos. And then we also have what is coming up, which we know are going to be like Nexus Night uh, promos. Basically, every time you go to your LGS to play in the weekly Riftbound competition, you get a pack which comes with, I believe, 3 cards. So I'm not sure how many unique cards there are from those Nexus Night promo packs, but those are going to be, here in the back in the promo section. Some other promos that we're going to be getting, right, is like the tournament prizing. We've already seen there are prize cards for top, I think it's top 32, top 16, top 8, top 4, and then of course first place all have unique prize cards. So if you wanted to do those, those kind of promo cards would also be coming in the back, and then just any other promos that you could find. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 pages, 4 promos, which I think should be enough. I don't think there's very much high quality binders that are larger than this. But say, for example, just an option, if you didn't want to do all the non-foils as well, you can pretty much take out, what is that, 12 pages or so? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So actually, there's 15 pages of commons and uncommons that if you wanted to take out the non-foil section from your master set, you could definitely do that and then maybe get a little bit smaller of a binder, or maybe keep this size of binder and have more space for promos or maybe duplicates if you wanted to store those in this binder. You have a lot of options, The way I do it isn't necessarily the best or only way. So just to kind of recap, we have all the foils first. You got those here. This is in order. And then we have the overnumbereds and the signature overnumbereds, and then what would be proving grounds. And then we would have all the non-foils. And then at the very end, you have your section for promos. All right, now I'm going to quickly show you guys how to use the Google Sheets files that I have provided in the description. There are 2 primary tabs. There's the checklist tab and the per page numbering tab. The checklist tab is pretty self-explanatory. This gives all the card numbers and kind of where they are in the binder. And this way you can go through it and mark it one by one to kind of keep track of what you have. Anything with an F after it means foil. And then the OGS cards are the Proving Grounds cards, right? So what you can do is you can go through all of these and then mark them one by one by one. Maybe you like highlight them in green. That's what I do personally to mark that you have it. That way you can easily keep track of what you do and do not have as you're going to buy more cards to complete your master set. You will only have view access, so you would come up here and make a copy if you're signed into an account. I'm not signed in right now. At which point you can go ahead and make a copy and then edit it yourself to customize it however you want. For this section here, this is the non-foils. You can tell they're in order by all the commons and uncommons, so this excludes any rares, epics, overnumbers, or signature cards. This is only the uncommon and common non-foils. Then this is what I think is a very helpful page as you're filling things out, right? Say you pull card 28, right? You would go here, you would say 28, you'd go to page 3, you'd go to row 2, and it's in the second slot. This is very helpful so that you don't, kind of put things in the wrong section. And just, it really helps to keep track. You can see here there's like a 27A. This means this is the alt art. So you have the foil of 27 here, and then in the next binder slot, you have 27AF, which is the alt art, which always comes in foil. So you can, see here, the first section is all foils. And then you can see here you have the overnumbered and the signature. You can see when there's blank slots. Then you got the Proving Grounds pages. And then you have your section for non-foils of commons and uncommons. And then you have this, and then everything after this would just be your promos, right? So this gives you a page by page breakdown. This doesn't look like much, but this actually took a lot of work. So I hope you guys find this tool helpful. Now let's go over a couple of like tips and strategy when it comes to, you know, building out your master set. Do you want to buy boxes? Do you want to buy singles? You know, kind of what do you want to do? So I think actually the amount of boxes that I bought is pretty good. So I have opened 10 boxes, and in those 10 boxes, I found everything you see here, and then I bought a couple of singles of the overnumbered cards and a couple of alt arts. I was starting to get duplicate alt arts around my 10th box, and that's kind of when I think you should stop buying boxes and just buy singles, right? Because buying singles is always going to be kind of more beneficial to your wallet. I'm going to talk about kind of the prices that I think singles might be at, right, in a future video. But, you know, as I said, I bought 10 boxes, and I think that's a pretty good number. I was able to fill out all of the non-foils that I wanted. I pretty much had a play set of pretty much all non-foils, and I got a bunch of alt arts, right? You know, obviously we didn't get all of them, but we got a good number of them. What we're really missing, as I said, are kind of the uncommons. Like these are all uncommons. Well, up to here, I think is uncommon or is commons, and then all this is uncommons. And then these two are uncommons as well. But like, as you can see with the new colors, oops, let me go back a little bit. Like for blue, we're also missing like uncommons. Or sorry, these are actually commons that I'm still missing, and these are uncommons. But I have pretty much all the rares. Like as you can see, like the rares aren't hard to get in foil because they only come in foil, right? So yeah, kind of my tip would be, you know, probably buy about 10 boxes of Chinese or 5 boxes of English, right? Because the English boxes have double the cards that Chinese boxes do, right? The Chinese boxes come with 12 packs, and the English boxes come with 24 packs. So I'd probably buy about 10 boxes if you wanted to do a master set and still open some boxes and then go from singles from there. Of course, you can also just buy singles as well, but you know, we all want to rip packs, right? That's fun. And then you also have the chance to high roll like I did with that one Ari, right? So that's kind of a tip that I would have. But also, you know, kind of tip number 2 is as you are opening those boxes, sort your bulk. All right. So it took me a while to kind of get everything in the right place because I had to go back through all my unsorted bulk and figure out, you know, where everything was. So you don't have to do it like by, you know, number or anything crazy, but I would recommend as you open packs, sort the bulk by color, right? That way, when you're doing your binder, your master set is set up by color. You can start off with all, you know, the greens and then work through that, and you can move on to, you know, blues and then, you know, the oranges and then so on. So definitely sort your bulk beforehand if you want to make your life easier later. Future you will definitely thank you. One more thing I wanted to quickly go over is the Riftbound official card list. So if you go to the Riftbound website and you go to the card gallery, you can kind of see a picture of all the cards in this kind of 4 row format where there's 4 cards per row. And why this is helpful is this is exactly how it looks in the binder, right? So as I'm going through my Excel sheet and I'm putting cards in the binder, I am looking at this on the side if possible, right? Because it is helpful to kind of have a picture of everything. So as I'm putting things in, um, I will look at the cards, you know, and we'll kind of go down like this, right? And we'll see, okay, it goes Scrapyard Champion, Sun Disc, Thermo Beam, Unlicensed Armor, Unlicensed Armory, right? So this is also something that I did as I was going through, is as I would reference this on the side as I was sorting my cards. I will leave a link to this as well. Next, kind of be smart about where you organize things, right? You want to store your cards properly so that, you know, there isn't any damage coming to them, like in between going from the box to the binder. So what I do is I keep all the bulk kind of unsleeved in a box, usually the box that it comes in, and I'll be relatively gentle with it. But for all the higher rarity cards, you know, like your epics and your alt arts, I will like immediately sleeve them so that no damage comes to them. If it's an alt art or a overnumbered, I will also put them in a top loader just until it gets into the binder, just for extra protection. You know, lastly, you know, have a realistic goal for yourself, right? You know, not everyone can buy 10 boxes at once and then go and buy singles afterwards. You know, everyone's situation is different. You know, set a goal of how fast or how short you want it to take to complete your complete master set, whether that's a year or a month. You know, everyone, you know, should be doing it at the pace that works for them in their own particular situation and goals. You know, if you just want to trade for them over time, or if you just want to buy boxes and then buy singles, you know, however you want to do it, just set goals that make sense for your own situation. So that's kind of it. That's my guide to how to make a master set. I hope that this was helpful. It took me a lot of time to kind of put together a flow that I think looks good, makes sense. And then the Google Sheets you should definitely use. Those probably took the most time to get them to flow correctly and to really be helpful. I think they're a great tool to go and, you know, look at what you need. So like, for example, it'll say, you know, if you pull, say, Draven, and you know he's 28, what it'll say is, it is on page 1, 2, 3. It'll say page 3, and then it'll go here, and you'll see 28F, which means 28 foil is in the second row on the second column, right? So that'll all be pointed out for you. That way it's really easy that when you get a new card, you just go to the spreadsheet, it'll tell you the exact page and slot, and you can just pop it in there. And then you don't have to be concerned about, you know, putting the wrong one in the wrong slot, and then all of a sudden everything afterwards is messed up because you messed up one card, right? You've got a template that you can build off of and read through to make sure everything is going in the correct slot. And then, you know, definitely use that checklist so you can keep track of what cards you're still missing, right? It'll show you exactly what card you're missing, where it is, so that if you want to go buy things, you can just pull it up and know exactly what you're missing and when you're missing it. And that's pretty much that. That's how you make a master set. If you have enjoyed this content, please leave a like and subscribe. I'm really trying to get to 500 subs and then 1,000 subs kind of in the next month. That's my goal. On 500 subs, I'm going to be doing some sort of giveaway. And then 1,000 subs, I will be doing another one. So really looking forward to kind of hitting those goals for myself. You know, this took a lot of time, and I hope you guys enjoy it. All right, you guys have a great day.